Hello everyone, my name is Balkis Nasreen and let's start today's class. So in this video we will be talking about integer data types. Okay, we covered string data type in the last class and so if you haven't watched that video you can go and watch that video. So let's start. So first of all, there's one data type that is called as numeric data type that contain all type of numbers, whether it is whole number or decimal number. Okay, numeric data type. Now, this is divided in three different sections, we can say. The first is integer, second is fixed point, and third is floating point. So in this class, we'll be not talking just about integer. We are going to cover integer, fixed point, and floating point data types. Okay, floating point. So let's start with integer, the first one. Integer. Okay. So in this, what we do, we store a whole number with no decimal point. Okay, like we can store like 5, 10, minus 100, and etc. Okay, and in this, now see, in integer we have different type. Again, in integer divided in different types in SQL. Like we have tiny int. These all are data types inside integer. Okay, tiny int. Then we have a small int. Then we have medium int. Then we have int. And then we have big int. Okay. The size of all these are tiny int is of 1 byte. Small int is of, okay, I missed right. It is small int. This is a small int. Okay. Small int is of 2 bytes, medium int is of 3 bytes, int is of 4 bytes, and big int is of 8 bytes. Now, why do we have different types of integer? Okay, data type? It's because the kind of a range of numbers that are present in all different types of integer data type. Like in tiny int, if we talk about signed values, like if if the range will go up to from like minus 128 to 127, and if we talk about unsigned, then it will go from 0 to 255. And just like this, we have signed, unsigned range for every other types, like small int, medium int, and big int. So, and it is increasing. It's not like, so in this we have 266 values. Just in small int, we have more than 266. Again, medium int is more than small int is more than medium int, and big int is the largest one. So the question is, can't we just go with big int? Like, why do we have to use all of these? So the answer is like, what if you have to store a value which only ranges between 0 to 100. Okay, like in this type of case, we can go with tiny int, because in tiny int we have this. If it is, let's say, if it is unsigned. So if it is unsigned, then we can, we know that it will contain values from 0 to 255. So it will be included, like 0 and 100. From 0 to 100 range will be included in 0 to 255. So in that case, we'll be using tiny int. And see, the size is taking in just 1 byte. And there's a very huge difference in 8 bytes and 1 byte. So in this case, we will go with tiny. Like let's say you have to, like if we have to give example here. Let's say you have to store a score that you have, like your test score or exam scores. So in that case, we will be using tiny, right? Because it will be in the range from 0 to 100. If the maximum marks of 100, so in this range it will vary, right? So in that case, we can use tiny, and depend on the condition, we will be using different type of integer data type. Okay. Now talking about a fixed point data type. So it stores decimal value. Let me first erase. I hope you have written all of these things. Okay. Let me quickly erase. Okay, so the second is fixed point. Okay, so in this we can store decimal values like 2.6, 5.9, something like that. And the thing is, those values are exact values. Okay, those values are exact values. Now, what's the meaning of this? Let's understand it by two different terms. That is called as precision, and second is called as scale. So, what's the meaning of precision? Precision means number of digits present in a number. And scale means number of digits to the right side of decimal point in a number. Okay, so this is the meaning of scale. Let's take one example. If I'm going to write down 5.93. So the precision here is going to be, I will be writing P for precision. So precision is going to be 3 and scale is going to be 2. Okay. And in fixed point, we have two types of data type. This is divided in two types. First is decimal and second is numeric. Do not confuse this numeric with this numeric. These two are different. Okay. So how we use these two? So they are just the same. There's no difference between this. So I can just write like this: decimal is equal to numeric. There is no difference. Okay. So now how we do this? So if you are working with fixed point data type, so you will be writing something like this. That is decimal. And first comes the precision value and then comes the scale value. Okay. So if I'm going to write down decimal, 3, 2. So that means precision is 3, like number of digits are 3 and number of digits after the decimal are 2. Okay, so same example I can give, that is 5.93. Okay, now there is one important thing that is present here. Like if I'm going to write down decimal 3, 2 and I'm going to write down this value 5.93 621. Okay, see what we have written. We have mentioned that precision should be 3 and scale should be 2, but someone has stored this value. Okay, just by mistake, or just the person is mischievous and they have stored this value in this data type. So what this SQL will do, it will convert it into the proper form. How? It will just round off this number. So this number will become 5.94. And not just this, if we are working with fixed point, see, it is just by the name itself, it is fixed point. So the values should be exact. So it was expecting 3 numbers only with 2 numbers after the decimal, but we have inserted this number. So it will convert, it will round off this value, plus it will give you a warning also. Okay, it will give you a warning also. Okay, so this is all about fixed point. Okay, now let's talk about the floating point. So again, let me quickly erase all of these things. So a floating point is kind of similar to the fixed point with some differences that we are going to talk about right now. So let's see. Okay, let's start. So the third one is floating point. Floating point. Okay, so in floating point we have two. Again, we have in a fixed point we saw decimal or numeric we can use. They are same thing. You can either go with like decimal 3, 2 or 5, 7, something like that, or you can go with numeric 5, 2 or something like that. They are the same thing. Okay, But in floating point, we have two types. One is float and second is double. So it's just that float is of 4 bytes and double is of 8 bytes. Okay, so double is of, we can say, double precision. So in this also we have these two terms, that is precision and scale, with the same meaning. Precision means number of digits that are present in a number, where scale is the number of digits present after the decimal in a number. Okay, that is to the right side of the decimal. Okay, now the thing is, let's take one example. So here, if I'm going to write down float 3, 2, and let me take the same example, something like 5.93. So again, the meaning is same. Number of precision is 3 here, and scale is 2. And if in this floating point, if I'm going to write down 3, 2, I have mentioned the data type and the value, like in the term of precision and scale, but someone has inserted 5.934621. Again, something which they should not do. So in this, what is going to happen? Again, in this also, it is going to round off this number and it will look like something this 5.94. But in this, we will not get any warning. Okay, we will not get any warning. So this is what the floating point is. Okay, so this is the only difference between fixed and not only difference. But yeah, this is what we can see. It is going to just round off without giving you any warning. Okay, and why it is going to round off? Because this is what we have mentioned. Okay, so this is going to follow the everything that is present. It is not going to exceed that or not something. It is not going to decrease the number of values present. So this is how can use numeric data type in our SQL, which is integer or fixed point and floating. These are very, very important. We will be using them throughout when we are going to work on big data sets. Okay, we will be seeing how to use all these data types that we have learned, like in string and in integer part. Okay, so I think we have covered most of the things, but if you get any doubt, you can ask me in the comments. And yeah, that's it from my side. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye.